I'm Mr. Sonderback, by the way. I am the director of the College Career Center here at Vista High School, and this is part of Career Weeks, where we're trying to expose students to lots of different types of careers. So today we have Lauren Biggins and Mike Hensley. They're going to talk to you about what the heck is court reporting and why you might want to do that. So I'm going to have you guys take it away. If you need any other help, just holler. I will be right here manning the participants list.
Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for the PowerPoint. There we go. Can you guys see that okay? Okay. So my name's Lauren Biggins, and my colleague Mike Hensley is here with me, and we're court reporters. We are both, he's the president and I'm a director for the California Court Reporters Association, which is a group of volunteers, and we advocate for the profession legislatively. We kind of keep an eye on what's going on, protecting the profession and advocating for it. So like I said, we're Lauren and Mike. Mike is a Northern California reporter, so he covers the top half of the state, and I live in Southern California. We're both freelance court reporters, which means we work for ourselves. We make our own schedules, we're our own boss, we have our own business, and we love court reporting because it's the best job ever. Mike, do you have anything to add about yourself?
So I came into this profession as my third career. So anyone that's looking to make a change in their life, this is a great opportunity. And those of you in the high school age that are looking into this career as a starter, it's a fantastic place to start and to get started now. I know others that have started young and they are a huge success in a very short amount of time.
Perfect. So this is what we use every day for our job. This is called a stenograph. There's many different kinds, as you can see here. There's some that are a little more techy and some that are a little more simple. So everyone has a different preference and everyone uses a different kind of machine, but this is generally what it looks like. They have 22 keys. There's no letters on any of the keys. And then that also includes numbers. So we can write any English word and any number on this machine with the 22 keys that we have. So we're going to teach you a little bit about how that works. So this is what the keyboard would look like if it actually, there you go, see Mike's holding his up. So this is what the keyboard would look like if it did have the letters on it. So what we do is we use different letter combinations to type phonetically. So what that means is we type everything just the way it sounds. So if you see on the screen here, I'll just give you an example. The T and the K right there, we can hit those at the same time, and that makes it the letter D. And then the O down at the bottom, if you hit all three of those at the same time, that becomes do. So there's just different letter combinations that enable you to type any word in English. Once you learn the theory of stenography, you can type any word. And this allows us to type up to 250, some people can even type 300 words per minute. So we type very fast. Mike is fast. Mike is very fast. We type very fast, and in real time, it comes out in English with some software that we use. So if anyone's ever watched TV with the captions on, that's actually done by someone using a stenograph. And they're typing everything in real time as people are talking, and it comes up on the screen so that people can read the captions. But that's also what we use in court and in depositions, which we'll talk about a little bit. So this is just an example of it translating. So on the left of this picture, we have the steno, and then on the right, it shows you what that translates to in English. So you can see one word is when both of those letters are on the same line of the steno, it doesn't look like English to you guys probably. Me and Mike can read that perfectly fine because we know it so well. But so what the part that's not in English, each one of those is one word. So you type one word all in one stroke instead of a bunch of strokes like you would on a regular computer. So you can kind of see how that how it translates. And of course, you'll have to learn the language of it to be able to read it like we can, but it's possible because we both did it. So a little bit about the different avenues you can go into. You can become an official court reporter, which is a court reporter that works in court. They do trials, they do hearings, misdemeanors, felonies. We know people who have done death penalty cases, family law, civil. So if you're suing your neighbor over something and you guys go to trial, that's what that would be. So all the different things that happen in the courtroom. So, and then the next one is a freelance court reporter, which is what me and Mike do, which is why we can be here with you today, because we work for ourselves. So we were able to take the day off and decide that we were going to be here instead. So a freelancer court reporter does everything before trial. So depositions, we can do hearings too in court, arbitrations, which is kind of like a trial, but it's more informal. And then everything, it's called the discovery process. So everything that happens before court and trial. And then the last two is a little bit different. That's what I talked about a little bit before. It's a cart captioner or a broadcast captioner. So a cart captioner actually goes to like college classes, sometimes high schools. I've worked in high school as a cart captioner before. And what they do is they help hard of hearing students. So they can be in a normal classroom setting with students like all of you. And we type everything that happens, everything that anyone's saying in the class, so they can read and follow along. So it's just like captions on a TV, but it's in person. We come, we set up our laptop for them so that they can read and be involved in a normal classroom with all the other students. And then a broadcast captioner is, like I said, what you see on TV, like little captions that come up at the bottom of the TV, that's all done by a broadcast captioner. Broadcast captioners can work from home, in their jammies, on their couch. They just watch TV like anyone else and set up their machine and type, and there's software that allows it to stream to the TV so that all of the world can see their captions. So a little bit about official court reporters. It's a full-time job. So this is a Monday through Friday job. You get there at, I think they get there normally at like 8:30 in the morning, and you're usually there until 4:30 or 5. You get a lunch break, you get paid vacation. Some of the courts in California even give you your birthday off paid. You have benefits, you have retirement, you have a base salary, which I'll show you guys. I'm gonna show you some salaries, which is I think it's gonna pique some of your interest. So you start with a base salary, and then on top of that, what we type, if the attorneys order the transcript from that day of court or from a trial, you get to charge extra money on top of what you're already getting paid to be there every day. So it's just a base salary, and then there's always the opportunity to earn more money. A lot of people like to be official court reporters because it's steady income. You know you're going to get that paycheck. You know, it's always Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you're going to the same place. You usually work with the same judge, the same court staff. So if you're someone who wants a little more stability and, you know, you like to know where your money is and when it's coming, and this is probably the best route for you. But like I said, they do all kinds of stuff. They do trials, they do hearings, they do, Mike, what am I forgetting? I feel like there's more than that.
You've covered it with the generals. That's a lot of what they do. It just feels like there's more because there's so much more specificity to each of those.
For sure, yeah, but that's pretty much what it is. So you're in a courtroom. So if you love, you know, Law and Order when they're in the trial and everything's crazy in the courtroom, that's probably the best route for you. I've personally sat in on murder trials, which is super cool to hear. I mean, it's kind of scary because someone murdered someone, but super cool to hear. So if that's something that interests you, you also don't have to do murder trials. You could, like I said, you can do, you know, my neighbor sued my other neighbor because something was on their property or something like that. So there's also things that aren't as gory and intense if you're not interested in, you know, murder and crime and all of that.
And let me just throw something in quickly here, because this is something that we are working on at the state level and also the national level. A lot of times when you see a court reporter on television, it's the image that everyone thinks of typically. It's maybe an older person who's in the corner of the room and you see paper coming out of their machine. Hollywood hasn't figured it out yet. We are so much more tech savvy nowadays, and there's a lot more younger, cooler people that are doing court reporting. I mean, me and Lauren included. So don't always believe that image you see on TV, especially if you see them with their fingers just hovering over the machine. That they're not doing their job right. And we always laugh and make fun of them, but you'll learn exactly what it is, what it takes to be a court reporter.
Yep. A lot of us are really fun too. We like to have a good time after the workday is over. Okay, so the next one is a freelance reporter and a captioner. So captioners are typically also freelance, not even employee. It's not an employee. When you're freelance, you work for yourself. So typically captioners are also freelancers. So why we love this part of our profession so much is that our schedules are flexible. We make our own schedule. If I want to work Monday and Tuesday and take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, I can. We both work with new people every day, new faces, new stories. It's always different. You know, you could have, the other day my witness was in France. It just depends on the day, what the case is. You could do, you know, a personal injury case, which is like a car accident one day, and then you could do a criminal case the next day. It's always different. So that's my favorite part about it. And then, like it says, we have more time, more flexibility to travel, spend more time with my friends, with our family. It just makes life, if you can freelance and it's something that you know, you like to do and you're okay with being your own boss, it really does help make life easier. And when you have that flexibility to kind of create your own schedule and work when you want to, basically. Mike, do you want to chime in since you're also a freelancer?
You know, I think you covered a majority of it, because everything you would say, I've been nodding my head along, because that's exactly why I'm a freelancer. Flexibility is the biggest part that's the most valuable to me, because as a freelancer, you can work as little as you want and as small of a scale as you want, or you can be as busy and as big as you want to be. For example, even between Lauren and I, we have very different operations of how we work. Lauren works a little more casually, and me, I'm a workhorse. I love to be busy 5 days a week, and I want long depositions. And there's room for all of that. And we are as busy as we want to be. The job demand is huge. So you have a lot of control of what you take in and how you make your workday happen.
Yeah, you can, the more you work to and the more you fine tune your skills, and because in this profession, we're always learning. The learning never stops. There's always a way that you can make yourself better. So you can make $50,000 a year as a freelancer. You could make up to $200,000 a year as a freelancer. It really depends on the person and how much you want to work, how much you want to put into it. Mike has a whole team of people that help him behind the scenes. I know Mike has someone, as he's at his job writing, they're actually getting his transcript so that by the time he's done with his job, the first draft of it is done and he just has to go back and fine tune it and make it perfect. So you can do a lot of things as a freelancer. You don't have to be a workhorse, but you can be. And I think that's the beauty of it. Sometimes I do, like, I'll have a month where I just work. And then the next month I probably work, you know, just a couple days a week and I take a little bit more time off. So it just depends on the person. But if you're someone who has self-control and you can discipline yourself, this is a great way to be a part of this profession, and Mike and I both love it. Mike's on, you've been reporting a little bit longer than me. I'm on my 5th year. Mike, what year are you on?
I think I have like 6 months on you.
Yeah, so, but we both love it still. And, you know, we could still both change our minds and become officials or captioners because it doesn't matter what you're doing. There's always something in this career for you to do. So you can switch halfway through and still have a great career and still make good money and just have a really long, awesome career. So there are some education requirements. It's not a degree. It's a trade school. It's somewhat self-paced. So we tell people it can take 2 years, it can take 4 years. It depends on each person's discipline. It depends on how fast you want to get out of school, how much time you're willing to put into school. You do have to take English and vocabulary. If you're good at English and you enjoy English, this is going to be a great career for you. We have a lot of grammar that we have to know, punctuation, words. I still hear words and I'm like, was that a word? And I have to go look it up because all the time I'm learning new things. You have to learn legal and medical terminology. We take doctor depots and they'll say a bunch of stuff that you're like, that's in my body? Huh, that's an interesting word. But so you have to learn all of that. You have to take the software classes and then the speed building classes. So you start out learning the language of the keyboard, and then you work your way all the way up to 225 words a minute to get you ready to take the state exam. So there is a license required here in California. So you do have to take an exam once you get out of school and pass that.
The big question.
Yes.
Where in the heck would I go to court reporting school at?
Oh my goodness, there's so many options. There's online schools. There's actually, and you guys are in Vista, right?
Yes.
So actually, hopefully when things, when we can go back to school in person, they just started a court reporting program at Poway Adult School. So San Diego hasn't had a brick and mortar court reporting school for a very long time. And so we're very excited about that, that's in San Diego County. So Poway Adult School is one. There's also tons of great online programs. Some of the online programs I feel are even a little bit better for people who are good at online school and can be disciplined and get the work done. But that's a great school, and they're teaching the theory that they're teaching at Poway. It was actually created by Mark Kislingberry, he holds the Guinness World Record for the fastest court report, like fastest words per minute for a court reporter, and he is amazing. And he created the theory that school is teaching. So you guys are very lucky to have that school. And yeah, like I said, it's a trade school, no degree required. We don't have a bachelor's. You certainly can, and it doesn't hurt, but it's not needed. And so yeah, I think that's it for education.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that the students have some understanding, and at least us over here, considering what you were telling you guys were making, some of those instructors might be interested in,
Yeah.
figuring out how do we get to be court reporters
and we're going
to flexible basis, right?
And we're going to give you our contact information. So if anyone is interested, please reach out to us. We will help you find the school right for you. We're going to talk about, I think that's coming up. It is coming up. So this is our contact information. You can email either one of us. I also put our website on there so that if you want to we have an office that you can call our office anytime and they'll get you to someone that can answer your questions. We have a program that we have adopted from our national organization. So each state has their own state organization, and then we have a national organization. And they've created the A to Z program. And so what it is it's a free 6-week course that we offer. We get the machine to you. And then right now we usually do it in person, but right now we're doing it through Zoom. So we'll get the machine to you. You can do it from your house. I think we're starting 2 this next week. One's going to be on Monday nights and one's going to be on Saturday afternoons. And it's a few hours once a week for 6 weeks. And it teaches you how to write the letters A through Z on your machine. So it's kind of a good way if it's something that, it sounds like you might be interested, but you're not really sure and you don't want to commit to school until you know more about it. This is an awesome way to find out. It's completely free. We don't charge you for anything. All you have to do is show up and participate, and we'll teach you everything you need to know. And a lot of people, it's helped people decide like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. And then other people are like, I love this. This is totally for me. And I wish that we had this when we were going to school, because a lot of people start it thinking it sounds like a good idea, and then it's just not for them, which is okay. It's definitely not for everyone. But this program is awesome. We're going to keep doing them. We're going to have plenty. You don't have to be graduated from high school. you all can do this program right now. You can do it as you're in high school. And just so that you know, and you'll be ready when you graduate, you can decide if it's the right path for you or not. So please reach out to us if this is something you're interested in, and we'll get you set up in the next class so you can learn more about it and actually get your hands on a machine and kind of feel what it's like.
We lovingly call it steno preschool because it really is the introduction to your schooling. And in fact, this program has been out for about 5 years now. And we are finding that those who start in an A to Z program are more successful in getting through school in a quicker amount of time. And especially those that are younger, so high school or college age, that start with A to Z and then go into steno school, they are finishing in record time. So just like Lauren said, it's available to you now. If you want to try it, it's a great time to take advantage of it.
Especially, you guys are all in quarantine anyway. So what are you doing after school? Playing video games? You could spend a few hours and learn about your future career.
This is like the ultimate video game, in my opinion.
You know what they say?
Controller, right? And then you've got courtroom, right? So
they say that gamers are really good at this and piano players. So I'm neither and I'm good at it, but they say that gamers.
I'm both.
See, and Mike's both. There you go. So apparently it helps to be a gamer or a piano player. And then this is the time, we're done with our slide, but I do have more to show you. So let me just stop sharing.
Lauren, while you're getting that configured, there was a question that came in from chat that I want to address before we forget. So that way it gives you a chance to tweak. The question was, how long did it take to get used to the steno machine, and how long have we all used them? So like Lauren said, the schooling can take anywhere from 2 to 4 years. In order to learn theory of stenography, that's usually about 6 months. So after 6 months, you start to get a feel for it, and you can write on the machine relatively slowly. You start out at about 60 to 80 words a minute. And between schooling and work, Lauren and I both have been on our machines about 10 or 11 years total. And I don't even think about it anymore. It feels so natural that sometimes when I go back to a regular keyboard, I have to catch myself and think, wait, okay, this is a different keyboard. And the normal keyboard feels strange sometimes. I wish I could just use my steno machine for everything. Sometimes even when court reporters text each other, we'll text and write our texts in steno, and it's funny to see like, oh, we understand that crazy symbol in the middle of our conversation, but it works.
You'll think in steno. I even still to this day, I'll be thinking about something in my head, and instead of thinking about writing it in English, I'm thinking of the word in steno. So it does become just a second nature. And even sometimes, during depositions, so I don't think I really explained this that well. Depositions are a question answer process. So there's 2 attorneys, usually a witness and then a court reporter. And one of the attorneys is asking the witness questions. Well, sometimes the witness might not answer the question the right way. So they'll say, hey, can you read that back to me, the court reporter? Or like, did I say that? Sometimes they'll ask me, did I say that? I'm like, I actually don't know. Let me go look. Because, you zone out and you don't really know, like, you don't really comprehend what they're saying. You just kind of zone out, but you're still typing it and you're still getting everything they're saying, but it just becomes like a second nature. So you don't really think about it. But yeah, after 6 months, you should know how to write every single English word because we just write phonetically. So even if you don't know how to spell that word or you've never heard the word, you can write it because we type everything phonetically, which means how it sounds. So let me show you guys some other things. So this is the Los Angeles, I know you guys are in San Diego, but this is the Los Angeles County salary. So their starting salary is 6 figures.
Lauren, we're not quite seeing it, so you may need to take down the PowerPoint to show that.
How about now? Okay, sorry, I paused it. So this is their starting salary. They have been hiring since I got out of school. So I've been working for almost 5 years and they've been hiring since then. there's so many court reporters retiring that the need is just so high. So they will be hiring for many years to come. But anyways, this is Los Angeles County. And then I'm also going to show you.
And for those of you trying to do quick math, if you look at the full-time monthly range at the upper end of the scale, that equates to about $114,000 a year.
And then here's San Diego County. So theirs is a little bit lower, I think, just because San Diego is not as expensive to live in as LA, but it's still, you know, you can make anywhere from $83,000 starting to $105,000 annually. So still a great salary. And I'm pretty sure the courthouse in San Diego is downtown and it has a beautiful view, so it's not a bad place to work. And then let's see here, I have some other things on here. So this is a little video, and actually the Illinois Court Reporters Association created this video, but I really liked how they explained it. So I'm going to try to, hopefully you guys can hear it. Let's see. Can you hear it?
No, we're not seeing the video of the thing. So you're going to share the window that has the video in it. And then there's also the little option that says share your computer.
Okay, let me try to stop and then share again. Oh, share sound. Perfect. Normally I'm just sharing documents, so I don't have to worry about the sound. Okay, can you guys see the video?
Yep.
Maybe I can make it bigger.
Yep.
So it's just a short video. So you guys, but they explain it really well, and you can actually see their real time. So this is an official court.
It's called a steno writer, and there's 22 keys. There are no letters on it, so it's not like a regular keyboard. You write things phonetically, so there are vowels, but the letters are not on the actual keys. And you can combine different letters to create phrases. So you could type "ladies and gentlemen in the jury" in just one stroke on your keyboard to make you go faster. And then when you do that, you write it on your writer. It actually translates in our software. It can translate from our steno language into English. So not only can we transcribe the transcripts faster, but attorneys or judges can watch it in real-time feed during court proceedings.
Housing units.
So you were a lieutenant in the housing units?
Yes.
Okay, so similar to what we discussed about being a yard lieutenant, does that have some supervisory powers over other corrections officers?
Yes.
In April of 2012, do you recall exactly what your position?
All right.
I always love seeing that video because I actually got my start in Illinois as a court reporter, and the guy that you saw at the end, he and I finished school at the same time. So it's always fun to see him around.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. So yeah, that was just a little video. I liked how it showed you guys the real time, because that's what it is. That's exactly how all of it works. That's how captioning works, just how you saw it translating into English. It's just whatever field you choose. It's all the same process. It's just a different job based on the content that you're hearing and typing down. So I'm gonna double check, but I think everything.
And you know, on that point too, since I thought about it, I want to share with all of you, one of the fantastic things about our profession is that everywhere there's a court, there's a need for court reporters. Mm-hmm. So there's plenty of work in California, but I got my start working in Illinois. There's a big demand in Texas, Florida, Massachusetts. So really this job can take you anywhere. And so as long as there's someone who has to go to court or have a lawsuit, then it's highly likely that a court reporter will be there as well. In fact, Hawaii has a great court reporting population, and they are treated very well down there. So if you want to live and work in the islands, that's also an option as well.
We also have a friend, he worked in Sacramento as an official for a long time and just decided that he wanted to live in another country. So he actually lives in the Netherlands now, and he's a court reporter there. He still takes work from the States. He's just there because there's a lot of overseas cases. So they'll actually fly him around Europe, and he lives in his little town, and then they'll just fly him or pay for his train ride wherever they need him to go in Europe, because there's lots of businesses that operate out of the country that end up in lawsuits in the United States just because they're dealing with businesses here. So a lot of people, there's a lot of traveling reporters. I know one that went to China, and her witness never showed up, but she got paid, each day to go. Her whole trip was paid for, all of her food was expensed, and she ended up staying for like a week and a half and just got to explore everything because her witness never showed up, but she had a free trip, and she got to every day she went in the morning, and then once they decided the witness wasn't coming, she was free. And so there's opportunities to travel too, if that's something that you want to do. I think we have some questions coming in.
We absolutely do, Lauren. I do see a question from Destiny, and I'm going to read it verbatim because that's what we do. The machine is so weird and cool, but why don't you use regular keyboards? Well, the reason for that is because on a regular keyboard, you type letter by letter or character by character. And that keyboard, referred to as a QWERTY keyboard, is designed so that statistically, the letters that you use the most are set in a place where your fingers will go most naturally. However, even the fastest QWERTY typists can only reach speeds of about 120 words per minute at most. Natural conversation, speech happens at around 225 words per minute at its slowest. So that means if you were to try and keep up on a QWERTY keyboard, you would be constantly behind. On our machine, we type the sounds, or I should say we write, because on our machine, we don't type. We construct sounds, words, entire phrases, and that allows us to keep up with the speed of speech every day. Like Lauren said earlier, we can write at as little as 225 words a minute. We can write as much as 300 words a minute, depending on how excited someone gets. So we're very flexible and adept. And the keyboard on a stenograph machine has actually been used the same way it has been since it was invented in the early 1900s. It just goes to show how efficient and robust a philosophy it was that was created for this machine, because still over 100 years later, we're using that same keyboard and it has evolved and adapted and it's keeping up with what we do.
Mm-hmm. And then we got another question. Not sure if this is relevant, but what made you choose this occupation? This is crazy cool, actually, something very new and helpful. So I don't think Mike or I graduated high school and we're like, we're going to become court reporters. Honestly, I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't want to go get a degree without having some kind of occupation in mind. So I did start community college, and then I was like, you know what, I need to figure something out, because I didn't really have any kind of path that I was following. And one of my friend's moms, actually, I'm from Riverside, so she was a Riverside County court reporter at the courts, and I went and sat in with her. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I was always kind of into law, but I didn't want to go to school to become a lawyer. And so I went and sat out with her, and then I toured the school, and I was like, you know what, I could do something like this. This seems really interesting. And I am so glad I did. I love this career. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys about it. I just don't think that it's talked about enough. People don't hear about it. And that's why there's so many job openings, is just because it's not something that's advertised enough. So that's why we're here, trying to spread it to you guys, because it's an awesome career. I'm 29 years old. I have my retirement going. I travel, I'm going to buy a house at the end of this year. So it's an amazing career. And I think we've even, just like the friendships we've built from it are a reward in itself. So it's an awesome community, and there's not very many people like us. So we all like to be friends and stay in touch. So that's a really cool part too.
It really is. And I'm so glad to know someone like Lauren, and I would have never met her were it not for this profession. I do see a question from Andrew that I wanted to answer, because that's another part of our profession that people don't realize. If we use this technology in daily life and learned all this, would it make society better? So actually, one of the biggest opportunities of service in our profession is to provide access to the spoken word for the deaf and hard of hearing communities through the services of captioning and CART services. And you can ask any captioner or CART provider, and they have dozens of stories of how thankful and appreciative the consumers of their services are. So you know that you are playing an active role in making sure that the deaf and hard of hearing communities can get the words sent to them in a way that they will hear. One of the biggest examples was back in many years ago now. Gosh, it's crazy to think that it was so long ago, but on 9/11, when the world was facing an event that there was no precedent for. Imagine if you were a deaf or hard of hearing person and all you're seeing are these images on TV of this tragedy. Everyone's talking about it, but you have no idea what's going on. So thankfully, because of captioners providing that information tirelessly throughout the entire day, the deaf and hard of hearing community was able to understand and know what was going on. So that's a very fulfilling part of our profession, trying to help that branch of society. So yes, it definitely does have philanthropic and altruistic benefits as well.
And I think we're almost out of
It's
time.
going to be, we're going to have to cut it off there because we're out of time. I'd love to talk about this all day long because I think it's absolutely fascinating, and I learned a ton of stuff that I never knew before, and you guys are super fun too. So hopefully we can have you come back either in person or through Zoom again this next year. And I'll probably, we'll still have, some other events that'll go on. Hopefully we'll have a legal day and have you guys come in for that as well. Thank you so much for being here and exposing our students to this. Like I said, I've recorded this so that students who have no idea what it is can come in and find out. So, but thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us. And don't forget that our emails are on that slide. So if you guys need to contact us, any questions, we're always available.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're gonna get a couple of them.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you
guys.
again for
I
being
appreciate
here.
you being here.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
You as well.